So, Sylvester Stallone, Michael Sylvester Stallone, pretty much ruled, I would say, the 1970s and 1980s with his personas of the two R's, Rocky and Rambo, and all the various sequels and everything else. And it was also in Demolition Man in the 1990s and what were the other ones? Over the Top and Cliffhanger. And, I've seen most of those. They're fine movies. Need to see them again. However, I was surprised by one where he shows a hesitation and questions things in Nighthawks. Sylvester Stallone and Rutger Hauer star in this riveting story of suspense and intrigue that starts in London, continues in Paris, and reaches its chilling conclusion on the streets in New York. When Europe's most feared terrorist, Hauer, explosively announces his presence in Manhattan, two elite undercover cops, Stallone and Billy D. Williams, are assigned to stop him before he strikes again. But the ruthless terrorist has other plans for the city and the detectives in this spellbinding cat and mouse thriller. A 1981 1 hour, 40-minute movie. Yeah, Stallone shows some actual good acting ability. Because one, he's got a unique look of like Coke bottle glasses, he's got a beard, wears a suit and things like that. But at the same time, it's not like just him being a tough guy persona. There's a scene where we're learning about the Wolf Guard, who is the terrorist, where we see he's questioning things. It's like, yeah, but is it really along the lines of, but is it really worth it to go and bill someone or use excessive violence? And then then the person playing the teacher says, you have to get into the mind of the head to beat a terrorist in order to defeat him. You have to kind of become him. And it's like he shows the side of actually questioning things, having expressions. It's like, it's pretty much, it's not show. It's like he shows emotion. It's like, the swear words, reacting to the situations and everything else, but it's him questioning things and getting inside his own head about, like, is it really worth the violence? It's like we've been in disguise for 9 years, being an undercover officer handling crimes in the nighttime, because a Nighthawk are the officers who handle the crime that goes on during the nighttime are vigilant like hawks, ergo Nighthawks. Yeah. There is also what the heck is his name? Rutger Hauer, who plays the main. He's very famous career. I know him personally for being like the main replicant in Blade Runner in 1984. But here, I mean, he plays just a real nasty man. I mean, in the sense of, like, what I look for in a villain, what I've noticed is, one, I want to see their personality. Two, how they tempt the protagonist. Three, the acts that they commit. And four, the personality. So kind of like the guy from Die Hard. But I guess you could say Hans or whatever his name was from Die Hard. Yeah, anyway. This is what I look for. I want him to be a threat. I want him to have a personality. I want some lines. I just want him because if we're talking like if it's a personal tale, it better be tense. And this movie is tense, tense, tense. I mean, obviously, one of the highlights is that there is this trans cable, I don't know what you call it. It's like Roosevelt Island transport thing that's going up, where it suddenly gets stopped 230 feet in the air, and Sylvester Stallone performed a scene where he has to take an infant from the cable car, descend 230 feet. And he had like a little rig and harness, and he thought that he would have survived falling 230 feet in the water because he could extract, a Gerber knife and free himself from the cable. It's a really intense scene. And there are some there was some legend, like the two constantly got into clashes of like about the direction of the movie, because recently Stallone came off of movies that did not perform well at the box office, so he was starting to have total creative control, like firing two directors because they didn't agree with his vision. And Howard was just starting to get his career going on here in America. So, I mean, yeah, they probably did talk, but they did clash, but that neither took it personally, because even Sylvester Stallone himself said, I think in an interview or his autobiography or 2014 interview, saying, yeah, I was a miserable prick who was drunk on power. If I could, I would go back and punch myself in the face. Be like, don't be a prick / yutz. Yeah. I mean, this movie is tense. Like I'm saying, tense. I mean, there's even a dance scene where there's going on, and it's like this. It's the game of cat and mouse, but we can also see the violence that goes on. That's real. It's not like it. I guess Die Hard. I saw this online. It's like we're international terrorism and seems kind of like comical with the inept cops and everything. No, this is a movie that takes it as seriously as it could possibly go. But I wanted to see I wanted to see more of like the methods and the climate or culture of like how the police deal with everything and the other side of all the terrorist schmucks. I would have liked to have seen more introspection into that, because it felt like that there was going to be that in there, but ultimately it did not add up. That's like, because it was supposed to be, what was that, The French Connection 3. Gene Hackman didn't want to do anything with it. He was reluctant to do it, so it just ultimately got reworked into this type of story. So it was like, you could tell that there were some ideas that I felt like could have been explored more thematically. Thematically, it could have been explored more, but I mean, the action set pieces when Howard is holding a lady hostage in the subway station alone is creepy. The explosions and everything that he does. I mean, he's just a menace, an absolute bastard, and you just want to see him get his comeuppance. I mean, you just look at him and you just dislike this guy. I mean, no, you just really hate him. And yeah, it's like, ooh, I mean, for a first actor, I mean, it's an intense performance. It's not over the top. It's like how any, I guess, terrorist would behave in a situation. So I'm like, I gotta commend them for that. Stallone is great. Keith Emerson did the music, so there's, of all things, there's Slow Ride and then Road Fever from Foghat Live. There's a couple of other tracks. There's the classical music set pieces. Like, this movie has great set pieces and the action. The cat and mouse feels pretty gosh darn good. But honestly, I think that, when it is fantastic, it's fantastic. But it needed, ultimately, I think this movie needed to be expanded more thematically. And that's really the only downside I could think of. It's like, maybe if they made it 2 hours where they had more discussion about terrorists instead of just like the classroom scene that we get, this arguably would have been right up there with amongst Stallone's greatest movies. But honestly, this one remains very underrated. So if you ever want to see a different movie where Stallone questions things and actually shows some good acting ability and great movie set pieces, I highly recommend that you watch Nighthawks.